Happy Sunday evening to everyone. Hello. So I'm sitting here looking at my weather station, and outside my door it says it's 110. This is not my kind of weather. How's everybody doing tonight? Hello. Oh, hi, Maria. Did a few people find me? Make sure you say something when you come in to make sure you can hear me. Is everybody hearing me okay? It says I'm getting comments, but I'm not seeing them. Just a minute. Oh my goodness. Here we go. I think I found you. Oh, hi. Oh, hi, Denise. Hi, Judy. Hi. Oh, Amanda's here. Who else is here? Second. Can't really see. I saw Maria and Teresa. Hi, everybody. It's a little warm for me. I don't like heat. I really like the winter. Yes, it's a good time to be inside watching. Yes. I do more sewing and stuff in the summer because I just do not like heat. I don't like humidity, and I hate bugs. So, yep, good place to be today, inside where it's cool. The girls and I got together at the store today and sewed. We had fun. We've been working on the Kimberbell quilt called Hello Sunshine, and I'm way behind everybody else. Bunch of them have it all done already. Have the whole top done, but I'm still working on it. It's fun. Hi, Garnet. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Kathy and Orlin. Oh, you're having a storm up there? They said we might have really bad storms tonight because, I mean, as hot as it is, it would not surprise me. Deb, you're getting rain up there in Martell too? Yep. Kathy and Orlin are just a little north of you. And Denise does too. Yeah, right now the sun's shining here, but I haven't seen anything here anyway. But yeah, they said we might have thunderstorms and stuff tonight. Cool. Everybody's hearing me and seeing me okay? Cool. So what has everybody been doing this weekend besides trying to stay cool? It's a good day for staying inside. I've been working on the class for Tuesday. So I was going to show you what I've been working on. This is what we're going to work on Tuesday in Sessions on Software. So some of you, I think most of you are in that group, but if you're not, let me know and I'll send you an invitation if you want to look at the software classes. Hi, Lori. Oh, hi, Marcia. We got Deb. Oh, hi, Deb. Janet. Oh, Janet. Hi, Janet. Yeah, people are coming in. That's cool. So on Tuesday, we're going to have a PEP class online, Sessions on Software with Jan, and we're going to make a recipe towel. Well, I didn't have the recipe towel done yet until today, so I couldn't take a picture of it, but I'm going to show it to you. This is the towel that we're going to make in the class. Grandma's chocolate cake, and the picture. I'll take a picture of this one and take the other picture down since I have it done now. But the other one is a picture of one of my mother's recipes, and this is my grandmother's. So working on my first ever t-shirt quilt. Oh, yay. That's what Deb's working on. So anyway, this is what we're going to do in the class. We're going to digitize this. We're doing some lettering. So we're just going to do some basic lettering, and recipe towels are a really good way to do that. So we'll do this on Tuesday night at 7:30, I believe is when that one is. So, but I wanted to show that to you. Also, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions before we start. Oh, we got 19 people here already. I wanted to ask you, well, first I was going to tell you that next Sunday on July 7th, we will not have a Sew Along with Jan. We're actually, I can't believe it. Can you believe it? I'm going to have 5 days off in a row. So I'm not going to have a class next Sunday night. We're going to take the Sunday night off because we're having sessions on software on Tuesday night. So Next Sunday, we will not have a Sew Along with Jan. But the following week, yay! I cannot believe that we're going to be closed for that long. I just couldn't believe it when Tim told me that. I about fell off the chair, I think. Storm sirens going off here. Oh, goody. So maybe everybody's going to head to the basement, huh? But what I wanted to ask you is the following week on the 9th in Davenport and on the 12th in Iowa City, we're going to be having the new Explore Club and talking about some things in that. Did you work in your yard today? Ooh, yuck, Lynn, that was hot. Would you be opposed to me doing the Explore Club presentation on here like the following Sunday? So that would be July 14th. I've already had a lot of people tell me they can't come to the sessions at the stores, and I've got people that are a ways away that can't come because it's so far to drive, and they would like to have a video. So would you be opposed to me doing those clubs like the following Sunday online like this so that we could make a video, and then we could just, would that be okay with everybody? Oh, hi, Pat. So that was something that I was wondering about, if that would be okay for people, because I have a lot of people that can't come to the clubs, or they're too far away, and I have people all the time ask me, is there a video of it? Well, there's not when it's live in the store, but we could do it here. Would that be okay for you guys? I could put a poll up too, so you could, but I just wondered if I could ask you tonight. Does that sound okay? If you don't mind, why would we? Well, I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I know some of you will be able to come to the store, and I would like you to come to the store and see it live. But, hi, Sharon. But if we could do it here, I know that I've got a couple people that are a long ways away that always want to come. Sirens going off in Iowa City also. Oh, well, I can't hear a thing in here. I've got the air conditioner running. So we'll just keep going. If we blow away, we know the tornado came and took me away. Huh? So anyway, let's consider that. If that's okay with you, I might just put a little poll up on the group and just ask if you would mind me if I would do that, because then we'd have a video, and then you might hear it twice if you come to the store, because I really do want you to come to the store. But if you can't, then you'd have another option to see it, and it would be up here so you could go back and watch. It's going to be a little more general. Like the first Explore Club is going to be, we're going to talk about the 1/4" seam, and we're also going to do some basic applique. So then I would do the same thing on here. So if that's okay, I think we're going to do that on the 14th, if that works for you. I'll just put a little thing up there, and good idea. Do you think that'll be okay? I want to talk to everybody about it before I just thought about that when I got home, and I thought, that might be a good thing, because I've had a lot of people ask for a video of that presentation, and I don't really have a good way to video it at the store, because I don't have a video camera. I really need a video camera to do it, and I think it would be better to do it on here. So we'll just do it again, and then if you see it twice, you see it twice, right? I might say something different, and might learn something different. So. And also, I think you'll be able to see a little bit better than you can at the store. Oh, Jackie, it's Explore Club. And we have replaced Dream Destiny Club with Explore Club. And it's going to be more general for all of the embroidery machines. So if you want to come to the store, please do. But I think I might replay it here and make a video of it like the following Sunday after I do it in the store, the 2 stores. I think I'll then do it on here so that it's recorded, and then people can go back and watch it, or people that are very far away can come see it, because I've got a lot of folks that just never get there because they have to drive too far to come in for a 1-hour class. So I think that's what we'll try. Okay, well, we'll try that then. So I have seen some of you have already got your pillows put together. How exciting. Some of you have been very, very good about doing that already. So tonight we're going to put our put our Home of the Brave pillow together. Now, I have had a lot of several people ask me, they've been having a little trouble getting their letters cut out. So how are people doing with their scan and cuts? Are they doing okay? I've had a couple of emails that people were having a little trouble. So just a second here. I have a funny post here I have to get rid of so that things go up better on my screen. Okay. So anyway, there's been a few people having a little trouble with their scan and cuts, so make sure you call or email me and I can help you with the scan and cut cutting part. Most people are getting along okay. Working on another St. Patrick's one. Oh, Jackie's making another St. Patrick's one. Cool. Cool. I really like these pillows. They're so much fun to do, and I'm going to continue making them. I think I'll do a fall one and then probably do like a Halloween and Halloween and Thanksgiving. So, whoops, I can hear my comments aren't scrolling here. There we go. Oh, Kathy. All right. So, the first thing we're going to do then is, so we decided that that's okay to do the Explore Club broadcast live on here too. Everybody got to see did everybody get to see this is the software class for Tuesday. We're going to make a recipe towel. Okay. And so tonight we're going to put our pillow together. And I'm better at I'm much better now at the binding by the machine. So I've got a couple tricks that I can show you this time. When I did the March one with the pillow, I had only done it one time. So I just kind of jumped in with both feet. But now I've learned it a little bit better. So give me a second here. I got to turn the camera around. All right. So the first thing we have to do is we have our pillow pieces here. Got to get my camera turned around. All right. So here's our 3 pieces of our pillow. Now, I always have to look at these very carefully. I have to look at these very carefully that I have them going the right direction because the 2 end panels are quite similar. So I always look at the picture on the design to make sure that I've got it right. So I looked real carefully that I have them oriented correctly here. And I'm going to look at it one more time before I sew them together. So I have 1/2 inch seam allowances right in here, okay? And then I normally trim the outside edge. You know, when I start, I usually trim it at 1/2 inch just because it's easier for me to trim them all the same way so I don't mess up where I'm trimming. So I trim them all 1/2 inch all the way around. I did pre-trim these pieces along the outside edge here to 1/4 inch because when we go to put the binding on, that's the size we want it. I did pre-cut them. I normally do it after I sew them together. I find it easier then, but I didn't want to have to jump up and down tonight so many times. So I just pre-trimmed my edges where the binding is going to be to 1/4 inch. Normally I would do that after I sew these together. But I left these middle ones at 1/2 inch so that it's easier to open them. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to sew the panels together. And give me a second. I just unthreaded my machine when I stuck the panels in there. Oh, got to wake the machine up. Hello, machine. Okay. So we're going to, whoops, second here, I got to move this down a little bit. I have a little trouble with the camera on this side, but this way you'll be able to see me ironing better. So, all right, so this is the first and the second. The first one's right here, so we're going to do those 2 first. I'll lay this up there so I won't get it tipped upside down. And I'm going to put these right sides together. Now, I always put pins in here. And we've talked about pins many times. I do leave the pins in when I'm doing these because if I don't leave them in, it will scooch on me. And we want to make sure those borders are lined up when we sew these together. So I'm going to be very careful to line them up. You can kind of see where they are when I'm doing this. I'm being trying to be really careful to get them lined up. I sometimes still have to rip it out, you know, and do it again. Okay, we'll put a couple pins in here. I usually just put about 3 pins in. I put the 2 at the borders, you know, where the borders intersect there, and 1 in the middle. Okay, so we're doing a 1/2 inch seam. So when I tell you to do a 1/2 inch seam, what I actually do, and I don't know if you can see it too well on the camera, let me see. Can you see where the line is? That is the, like the line that held down the borders and stuff. It's like the outside border. And I use that instead of a true 1/2 inch seam. 1/2 inch seams are so hard on I think on any machine. Oops, I just stabbed myself. I want to stitch on the inside of that line, that border line, about 1 stitch, because then it won't show on the outside of my design. And I just go along that, and that is about a 1/2 inch. It's not a complete, you know, I think it's just a little bit less than a 1/2 inch. Oops, second here. Made my sewing machine mad. I'm going to do a straight stitch in the center. I got my needle in the center, and I want to tie a knot. I am just using, yeah, I'm using 104 for my straight stitch in the center. I am going to tie a knot on the edge of this though. Okay, and again, I'm sewing about 1 stitch inside that basting stitch that holds everything down. That way it won't show on the outside of the pillow. I'm using about a 2.5 millimeter stitch length. And this one's going to be a little hard for you to see on the screen because everything's white, but I can see it pretty well while I'm sewing. And so as you can see, I'm not really paying attention to the 1/2 inch seam allowance. I just don't want that to show. I did drive over the pins. I drive over them rather slowly, and I use an extremely thin pin. So I don't use those great big pins. I use these little tiny glass head pins. And as you can see, I bent another one. So I throw away a lot of pins. But these are, I don't hit them very often, and they're so soft. Okay, let's see how I did here. There's the top border. How did you, girls? And guys, there might be, oh, see, now I'm a little off on this one. See how this one's sticking up a little bit? So I didn't do too well on that one. But I also need to, I noticed that I can still see some of my stitching in here. So what I do, if that happens, usually that'll take care of the border too. I flip it over the other side. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to sew from the other side. I'm just going to sew down it again. That's my trick that I learned by doing this. That way I can take care of that border and most likely that seam showing, because I had some like the edge of this, that edge border seam that was showing on it. So I'm going to try it one more time. I'm just going to sew down the whole thing. That way the seam's all the same. And I do this when I sew together, like, you know, the Needed Good designs when you're doing those panels and stuff, because it tells you to do like a 1/2 inch seam, but it really doesn't. Here, that looks better. I still got my border just a little bit off. Can you see how it's sticking up like that? So I might, after I finish this, I might actually tear that out and try to get it a little bit better. I might be able to do it now. Would you like to watch me rip, everybody? Yeah, I'm sure you'll love to watch me rip, don't you? Because I'm not particularly happy with this. This is going to be from my dad. So I'd kind of like to have it look nice. So let's just go ahead and we'll just rip it out. And I'm going to rip up to that little spot up there, and I'll show you how I fix these. I do this all the time because I'm always missing one of the borders, it seems like. I rip with scissors usually instead of a seam ripper. I don't like seam rippers too well. So I rip with scissors because I can rip a lot faster. So I'm just going to rip up above that border. And you need to go up a little ways, like that, okay? And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to repin that, because I just was not happy with that, how that was lined up. It will line up. I must have pulled it a little bit when I stuck the pin in. And usually if I rip up high enough, then I can get it lined up. That looks better. So let's get it pinned again. I spend a lot of time unsewing when I'm sewing. How many other people do that? I probably spend more time doing that than I do sewing. Is anybody sending me up any little hearts and stuff for the unsewing part of this little episode? Okay, so I have to go a little higher, it looks like, and then I'm going to tie another knot. So you got to see me fix it. Okay, let's see. It's gonna be hard to. It would be a lot harder to rip the whole thing out later. Oh, that looks much better. Well, it's a little better. I still haven't got it too good though, have I? Let's see. There's a little heart. Okay, well, I think it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. This, like I said, this is from my dad, and he doesn't get too excited about it, you know, if there's something a little off on it. So I think it'll be all right. I think it looks better. I was able to fix it a little bit. Got it down a little further. Still sticking up a little bit on me. Okay, so let's try the other one here and see if we do better with that one. Okay. You know, this is the way the live stuff goes, right? You have to see me make mistakes. Okay, let's see here. See if I can get this one lined up a little bit better. This is the ones that I always have a little trouble with, these pillows, because these little borders sometimes scoot when I go to sew them. And you want that border to line up pretty close, so especially when it's, you know, such a contrasting fabric. Get this one. Let's see if I can do better with this one. It looks a little bit better. Looking kind of dark outside right now, everybody. I don't know. All of a sudden the sun's not out. So are you guys all in the basement? Is that why it's so quiet? Are your houses blowing away? I don't worry too much about weather, I guess, because they blow the sirens here in Iowa City if the wind blows over 5 miles an hour. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to sew just inside, about 1 stitch inside that line. Try to be careful with the pin. Don't drive over them slow. Hopefully this one goes better. Okay, get that lined up. Looks like I'm going to have to throw away another pin. I throw away a lot of pins. I go through a lot of pins. Oh, somebody made a comment. Just a second here. New comment. No, Davenport is a thunderstorm, not a tornado. Nope. Oh, that's good. Everybody's still there. You're not blowing away yet, huh? I had to throw away 2. Oh, that one's really bent too. So we'll just throw all of those away. Okay. Well, let's see if we did better with this. Oh, you know what? Actually, that one looks much better. So I think we're going to be okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. And these seams I like to open up so that they lay flat inside the pillow. So if you give me a second, we're going to do a little ironing. I'll pull the camera up so you can watch me iron. Everybody seems to like to watch me iron. I always get lots of questions about the irons and stuff. Okay. But yeah, these I like to open up and leave them because then they lay nice and flat. See if I can, whoops, not burn myself, hopefully. I just put water in here to steam, so. All right. This iron has lots of steam. I really like it. It's got a titanium sole plate on it too. And it really is nice. It stays clean too, you know, it doesn't get gunky, but from from like adhesives either, because I think it's because of that titanium sole plate. Probably can't see me too well right now, but there we go. Got my arm out of the way. All right, so I'm going to open those flat. And those were the 1/2 inch seams. So like I said, at this point, normally what I do is I go to my cutting table. I'm going to trim my little tail here. I go to my cutting table and I go ahead and I trim all the way around the edge then to 1/4 inch. But I pre-trimmed that so I don't have to spend so much time trimming. It takes me a little bit when it's dark like this to be able to see where I'm trimming. I often trim from the back, actually, because I can see the line here, the bobbin thread, better than I can see the front. The front was quite matchy, so I couldn't see it very well. Okay, so there is our front. Got the front all done. Now we have to get ready to do we're going to do the backing. Now I got to remember where I laid it. Where'd it go? Oh, I'm sitting on it. Here we go. Okay. I was sitting on my backs. Now this back is directional, so I had to be careful when I was getting ready because I'm going to make hems on the edges of these, and this is a envelope style back is what they call it, and this was directional, so I had to make sure when I ironed the back, I pre-ironed these. You can see my folds here. I pre-ironed these. You want to make sure that it's going the same direction, so I had to be really careful about that to make sure it was going all the right direction. So I do need to change my thread, so if you give me a second. I did the front with the white thread because my inside fabric was so white. So I put white thread there, but I am going to switch to some red thread now to do the finishing, because my binding is red also. It's kind of a tomatoey red. Okay. I'm using white. The thread I'm using, both of them are my Pima cotton threads. I think I got these at Craftsy. I really like this thread a lot. And then I also use the Pima cotton from Hobby Lobby. And it's really nice thread too. I've had really good luck with it. And it's not as curly as the Aurifil. I use Aurifil a little, but it's very curly and it's very, very soft. So this seems to work better for me. Okay, so I've got the machine threaded. And again, I'm going to leave my needle in the center. I've still got it on 104, which is the straight stitch, can't talk tonight, in the center. And I have pre-ironed these little hems down. So I ironed in about 1/4 inch and then over another 1/4 inch. So I have a little hem, and we're just going to stitch these. Now I always stitch these from the back. I like to use my foot along the edge of the fold to help me. And so there's a little mark in the middle of your foot. Let me see if I can get any closer. There's a little mark. Can you see the little white mark? There's a little mark right there where my fingernail is. That helps me know that I'm straight. And I think I have a comment. I'm just going to look. And so I am going to use that, and I'm going to kind of run it just inside this fold right here and top stitch all the way down with my red thread. It's about 1/8 inch in from the folded edge. Okay. And I'm just going to top stitch this down. I suppose it probably would be better to do this from the front, but I've always been careful when I ironed, made it very straight, and then I like to use the back edge to help me to keep it straight. This thread also matches pretty well, so I don't think you're even going to hardly see it. All right, so we're going to do that. This is the one side. Here's my first side. But you can see the thread, but you can see it like on the blue. Looks pretty straight. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Now, like I said, was very careful here. So here's my two sides that I got them going the same direction. I know the first one of these I ironed it and I set it up there. I'm like, well, that's not going to work because one of them was upside down when I made my sample. Okay, so we're going to get this one. Again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm using that little mark in the center of my foot as a guide. I'm going to place it about 1/8 of an inch in. And you can see also my fold is about along the edge of the outside foot here. You know, if you got about 1/4 of an inch, that's where it's going to land. These machines sew very, very straight. Oops, second here. Got a little fold right there. All right. So now I think we got our envelope back here. So there's the two sides. So I think we got them. I think I've got them sewn correctly. Check them again. Yep. So there's my two sides and my two hems. Okay. So is there any questions so far? Is this making sense to everybody? So the first time I did one of these types of pillows, I was a little bit, I couldn't figure out how I wanted to finish the edges, because I thought, well, we could just, you know, turn it right side out and do it that way. But I kind of wanted piping on them. And the piping, I really like piping on a pillow. But, you know, piping, getting regular piping on is actually kind of hard, because when you put the, you know, like the cording in, it's kind of hard to get it, you know, you have to get it lined up, and then it has to end and start in the same place, and you don't want to see like a gap there. So I've always had a little trouble getting it started and stopped. So I thought, well, we could probably do that with binding. So the binding kind of looks like piping, doesn't it? It's just wider. And I kind of like the looks of the binding on here. So that's why I've been doing them with the binding, because I like piping. Okay. So to get this was the thing that I couldn't figure out, though. It's like, okay, well, I need the back of the back to show, you know, the nice side, and I need the front. So I had to make sure I got these on here correctly. So I'm going to read the directions so you know what I did. Place the back pieces right side up over the pillow top, and the pillow top is right side down, because we want the wrong sides together, because we're not going to be turning this. So I'm going to lay this piece the right side down. There's my wrong side. And then I'm going to lay these two pieces wrong side. And, oh, by the way, make sure you have it right side up here too. Ask Jan how she knows. I had to rip the first one, laid it upside down. So we're going to put this one on, and then we're going to put this one, and they're going to overlap in the center. They overlap somewhere around 3 or 4 inches. Okay. Now these, if I can find them, I like to use those little clover clips. Wonder clips, that's what they call them. These work really great. Got a whole bunch of them here, so I'll just get them out. I use those for most of the time instead of pins. I do have to use a pin on that border, though, because of the space it is. So it's kind of narrow, and the little clips like to scooch on me. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is pull this up so you can watch me clip this. I like to know where those folds are, so I want to make sure I get a clip in where my overlaps are. Let's see if I got this all lined up good. Sometimes I have a little problem with this part, so take our time and get it right. All right. Put that on there. And then here's the other one right here. So I'm going to make sure I put a clip there. Got my raw edges all lined up over here on the edge too. I'm going to go down here and get these center ones. And there's the other one right there. So the two overlaps are there. And then I'm going to go over here and get a clip on each corner. know if you can see me clipping. Here's my corner. This is kind of long for my space here, so put the clips on the corner. So let's just pull it over here. Get these. Okay. And then I'm going to put a couple on the ends here, so that doesn't move on the centers for me. All right. Now, at this point, I am going to switch over to a different stitch on my machine. So I'll pull this over here, and I am going to switch over to the Q tab, which is the quilt tab, and I'm going to use the 1/4 inch piecing stitch, and it's Q02. So I'm going to switch it over there. I like to use, so it moves the needle to the right, and then it will, I'm going to need to move my paper here. Then I can run the edge of my foot along the edge of the fabric to get a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so we're going to slide back here. All right. Now, what we're going to do is I usually then flip this over so I can see my 1/4 inch seam allowance along the edge here. Oops, just caught it on my foot. And then I am going to stitch all the way around the outside of the pillow just to hold this all together, and then we'll put the binding on. So I'm going to go ahead and just stitch around here with my 1/4 inch seam, and I'm going to knock something off here, so we'll move something, one more thing. Here we go. All the way around the edge of our pillow, just to hold everything together so we don't have to worry about this when we're putting the binding on. I try to do some pre-sewing before I get on here and in the evening, so you don't have to watch me sew every little thing. But there's a lot of, oh, hello, storming. Oh, Terry is storming in DeWitt too. Are you in DeWitt? Yep, so we're going to stitch around this all the way around. Whoop. It likes to stick on my wool pad, my little wool pad here, so I have to flip it up. I think we're doing okay though. Yeah, so I'm getting some cute pictures. You guys have been putting cute pictures of your pillows up on the group, so make sure when you get them done that you put your pictures up for me. I'd love to see them. So can everybody wait for a fall pillow? Will that be okay? We'll do a fall one. And then maybe, I think we'll do fall, and how about Halloween? And probably Thanksgiving. And then we'll do a Christmas pillow. Or would you like to do the Christmas pillow? Should we do the Christmas? And I don't know if I can get one done in July though. I've got a busy July. I was thinking about doing Christmas in July, but I may not make it. I'll try to get it done early though. If we do it later in the year, I'll try to get it done early so you have plenty of time to get them done. Yep. Okay. Getting about around here. I'm stuck to my wool mat again. Okay. So remember, this is a 1/4 inch because we're going to put our binding on. Now, when I put my binding on, I usually do a full 1/4 inch on the edge. I'm kind of doing a scant one right now so that it won't show, you know, my line won't show that I'm sewing right now. And with any luck at all, I got my backing on up, right side up. I think I did. Don't want to have to rip afterwards. Remember the welcome pillow where I had to do some ripping afterwards and fix it, you know. Just the way it goes. Okay, whoops, second here. Not quite lined up. There we go. It's hard to sew with the camera in front of me because this one, when I have the camera on this side of the table so you can see me ironing, it's the little thing is in my way, so I can't sit very close. All right, we're getting about around. Got one more little clip to take out. All right, there we go. So tie knot. We got all the way around. Getting dark and windy here in Lone Tree. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's looking darker outside. I can't really see because I have the blinds. I have like room darkening blinds in this room because it's so hot in here otherwise. So I can't really see out. I can't see out the window. So sometimes it's better that I can't see, I think. Okay, so let's take a look and see how we did. It looks pretty good on the back. So here's my opening. It doesn't matter which way you put it. Either way is fine. So I have one way and one another, so it doesn't matter. And then we're ready to put the binding on. So I have practiced this a little bit more, and of course now I've lost my binding. Oh, here it is. Now I have practiced this a little bit more. The first time I did this was the March pillow. And I've been watching some videos and I've been doing some practicing. I really like doing this machine binding. And when you put the binding on with the machine, and then you're going to sew it down with the machine, you want to put it on the back instead of on the front. So if you want to hand stitch your binding down, go ahead and put it on the front. But I'm going to put it on the back. Really storming. Oh, it's really storming in Davenport, huh? Cool. 70-mile-an-hour winds. Oh, yeah, well, yay, huh? So I wonder if they're coming this way or if they're going that direction. All right, so I am going to sew this on, instead of by hand, I'm going to sew this on by machine. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to sew my binding on the back. Now, I meant to look before we started, but I can't remember. Have I uploaded to this group the little thing that I found that's called Bind Aid? I believe I did. If you're not, if you haven't done a lot of binding, that's the way I learned to do my binding, and it works very, very well. So I'm going to start with a tail here of about 6 or 8 inches, usually about 8. Like to leave a little tail. And I'm going to start kind of over on this side over here. So I have this little tail. And I'm going to start sewing my binding on. Get my outside edges lined up nicely. And again, I'm on the back because I'm going to flip this over and sew it on. All right. So, and I want a full 1/4 inch for my binding, and I'm still using the same stitch, that Q02, but I'm going to do a full 1/4 inch this time so that I can just see the edge of the fabric. So we're going to drop my needle, and I'm going to tie a knot. Everybody see okay? I think I got the camera so you can see pretty well. Okay. All right, so we're going to start down towards that first corner. Get it lined up. I must have my cord underneath my foot controller because I'm not moving here. I like to sew fast. So there we go. All right, so then I've got down here to where I'm about 1/4 inch from my corner. I'm going to go down to about 1/4 inch. I can see my stitching, and then I'm going to tie a knot. Okay, and then I am going to cut. And I'm going to do my 1/4 inch or my 45-degree angle. So on that Bind Aid, I think it's on there. If somebody could look on the files, maybe Lynn or somebody. Otherwise, I'll look when I get done. I think it's up there. I'm going to go up at a 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to come down and make sure that I'm nice and flat at the top. Okay. Then I'm going to sew and get my 1/4 inch seam lined up again. Put my needle down, and I'm going to take a couple stitches, and I'm going to tie a knot on the end. Okay. And go down to the next corner. Again, I'm taking a full 1/4 inch. I like to take a full 1/4 inch, and I like to use 2 1/4 inch binding. I don't like the binding to be so big. 2 1/2 inch binding is kind of big, especially when you're doing smaller items. And I even use 2 1/4 most time for quilts. Okay, so I'm just about to my 1/4 inch. There it is. I'm going to tie a knot and cut again. Okay, that looks pretty good. So then we're going to do the flip on the corner here again. So I'm going to go up at a 45-degree angle. Make sure it's nice and straight. And then, whoops, come down. So Judy, is it raining in Iowa City? I can't tell if it's raining here or not. All right, whoops, sir. I'm about to unthread my needle. Can't see the end of it here. There we go. Make sure your thread's underneath your foot always when you start, because then you don't unthread the needle as easily. I think it might be thundering. I might be able to hear the thunder a little bit. Okay. My foot's down. Drop my needle. Tie a knot. Johnson County tornado sirens are oh, the time tornado signs are going off. They probably are. I don't pay attention to them. I'll just blow away someday. I'm taking my full 1/4 inch. And I live in a mobile home too, so I figure, you know, if the tornado comes and gets serious, it's going to take any house away. So I just stay in my house. I have gotten scared a couple times that it got pretty blowy, but all right, we're just about down to the 1/4 inch again. Oops, I've got a couple more comments. Trying to see them. Sometimes they don't scroll up for me. Bind aid is on the files. Oh, yay, thank you. Because the bind aid is, yeah, it's in the file section on this group. And if you don't know how to do binding, that is the way I learned, and it's so easy and it has really good pictures on it. So go ahead and download it and print it off. All right, so I'm just about to my 1/4 inch, got a couple stitches, and tie my knot and cut. I'm gonna turn it, and again we're gonna flip up the 45-degree angle. And yeah, I think it's raining really hard now. I can hear it raining now. Okay, flip it down. And then we're gonna get our 1/4 inch seam lined up there. Tie a knot. Yeah, it's raining really hard now. Right now I can't hear it. Okay. And down this side. You're all still able to see me though, aren't you? It looks like it's still working. Okay, down the side. Yeah, I thought I might take this up to my dad. I think he'll get a kick out of this pillow. I need to go get another pillow for him. Thought he'd like it. I'll take it to him on 4th of July. He'll get a kick out of it. Yep. Okay. Tie a knot. And cut. So now we're going to go around the corner. Now, when I go around this last corner, see, there's my tail, so I don't want to get too close to it. I need to leave a little space in here so I can get my last flip done. So we're going to turn this around. We're going to go in a little ways. Oops, second here. All right. Flip it up at my 45-degree angle and then down, make it nice and flat. So I take my time when I'm doing this fold, so my binding is nice and has a nice pretty mitered corner. All right, get the corner done. Tie my knot. And then we're going to sew in a little bit, but I don't want to get too close because I want to have room enough to work here. So we're going to sew in a little ways. I think this will be about good. Right in here. And then we're going to tie a knot. Okay. This is where everybody always has, when with the bind aid, this really helped me to do this part. This is the part that a lot of people, I think, get confused about. Second here, I need to find my little ruler in my drawer here. What I do, and remember, this is 2 1/4 inch binding. What I usually do is I fold this down and get it out of my way. And then this one, I lay over the top of it. And these two pieces need to overlap on the end, the 2 1/4 inches. That's the size of this binding. So we need to measure from the edge here down 2 1/4 inches from the edge of the top piece. It's right here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's right there. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure down from there 2 1/4 inches, and I'm going to put a pin in the back piece that's laying underneath there at 2 1/4 inches. So I need to, there we go. I think I got it in there. All right. So I'm going to put that pin in there, and that's where I'm going to cut this piece off. That's why you don't want to get too close. You need to have a little room to work here. So I'm going to lay this back up here, just remeasure to make sure I got it right. So from here, this is my raw edge into the pin. Now I'm a little over my 2 1/4, so I might pull my pin back just a little bit. And I'll remeasure again, because it's better to measure. Whoops, now you have to measure completely over because I just pulled the pin all the way out. It's very important to take your time doing this to make sure that this measurement is correct, because if it's not, your binding's not going to meet up well. And it's going to pull. So I think that looks better. Let's see. So I take my time doing this, make sure I get it correct. 2 1/4. Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're good. So this little pin right here, what I do is I take and I fold this down right where the pin is, and I cut it off with the scissors. Okay, so now we have the two ends, and they overlap 2 1/4 inches. I think I've got a comment, so I got to scroll down just a second, guys. I lost you for a few minutes. Okay, can't see out from windows. Oh, you can't see out your windows in Davenport? Is it raining that hard? I can hear it raining, but it's not that dark out now. I can tell it's lighter outside now. So, okay. So here's our two ends. Let me move this over so you can see better. Okay. Now this is the tricky part to get this to meet up. This piece on the right is going to be unfolded and laid like this. And there's a really good picture of this on Bind Aid. Okay. Then this piece, which is over here, I'm going to leave it folded, and I'm going to fold it down like this. So here, like remember how we did the 45s on the corners? Okay. Now this piece over here has to continue in the same direction. So I'm going to take it, I've got it folded down, and I'm going to flip it around like this. It has to stay going in the same direction so that you bring it down and around like this. Okay, so it's going to look weird on the corners. So I'm going to continue around in the same direction, and then I'm going to open it up like this. Okay? Then I'm going to put the corners together. So I've got the corner together there, and I'm going to put some pins in here. Or your lights are, somebody said their lights are blinking. Okay, and then I'm going to put a pin here. Yeah, I don't have any blinking lights here. It is raining pretty hard though. And a pin here. So I've got 3 pins in there. Oops. And I've got a corner here. There's a corner right here. So I like to take my little pen, you know, my little water-soluble pen, and I like to mark where my corner is so I can hear, oh, I hear the thunder now. So I can see where the corner is, and then I'm going to go over here and mark the corner over here too. It's just easier to see with the marking on it. Okay, so I've got the 2 marks on there. And we're going to sew from corner to corner there. Okay, so when I do that, I actually am going to show you up here on the screen again. I like to use my laser light. Now you won't be able to see it too well on my machine because it's part of the projector, so sometimes it doesn't show too well on the camera. But it's this little icon up here on my machine, and the rest of you, it's going to be down towards the bottom. If you have a Dream Machine or a Destiny, it's going to be down on the bottom, down along this area here. It's like I got to wake my iron up because it's going to go to sleep. So at this point, I want my needle in the center also. So I'm going to go back to Q01 because that is going to be my needle in the center. And I'm going to turn on my laser light up here. My laser light, I have to turn it on in two places. I have to go up here where it says guideline on. And then I think I'm going to make mine green this time because I have red fabric. So I'm going to make it green. And I've got it turned on. So we'll see if I can see it now. Oh, there, yeah, I can see it now. You may not be able to see it too well on the camera, though. I apologize. And I'm going to line up that corner. So let me get back over here. So you can see, you can kind of see it. It's right there by my thumb. But it's hard to see the camera on the camera, so I apologize. Okay, we're going to make sure that this is nice and flat. That's why you want to leave a little opening there so you have a little room to wiggle here when you're doing this. And I can't see this corner very well because it's so humid, my water soluble already has gone away. Okay, so now I can see it. So I'm going to put my foot down and put my needle down there, and I can see the corner here. So here's my corner, and I can also see my line. You probably can't see the maybe just a little bit there. It's green. And I'm going to sew from corner to corner with the needle in the center. And I use my laser light a lot for that, those diagonal lines. So, okay, so here's our sewing. And I'm going to pull the pins out. And before I cut it off, I always check to make sure I did this accurately. Because, you know, the one time that I wouldn't. So then it should lay flat like that. Okay, so now I can go up and I want to take this bulk out of here, and we're just going to trim it off with the scissors to about 1/4 of an inch, like that. And then I'm going to finger press open the seam, like that. Okay, then I can pull this back down and see how beautiful, and it's all laying completely flat. So we're going to, I put pins in this section. This is the only time I pin. I have a hard time with the clips in here, so I usually pin these down so they're nice and flat. And then we'll finish sewing the binding on, and we're almost done with that. But bind aid, that little piece of paper that's up there in the file section, if you're not comfortable doing binding, it really has great pictures on it. Now I'm also going to go back, show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to turn off my laser light, and whoops, got to go back and turn it off, sorry. And then I'm going to go back to Q02, which is my 1/4 inch seam that I was using earlier. Okay. All right. I'm going to figure out where I started and stopped. Here we go. Go back up here. I got my 1/4 inch seam again. I'm going to go down and drop my needle and tie a knot. And then I'm going to go along the edge. So is anybody sewing along with me tonight? I usually have at least a few people sewing along. Okay. And I got to go up here a little further. There we go. And I'm going to tie a knot there. And cut. And we have the binding. I do have a little bit of a pucker there, but I don't think it'll show on the other side. Every now and then I do that. Probably wasn't accurate on my last seam I did. Let's see if it shows on the other side. I think it'll be okay. So you can see my little pucker there, but I think it'll be okay on this side. Yeah, it doesn't show on this side. Okay, so our binding is on and attached, and at this point, what we want to do, I'm going to move my pillow again. I always have a lot on my sewing table, so you'll have to give me a second to put a couple things away. Okay, we're going to bring this over on the mat, the ironing mat. Okay, oops, had a couple comments. Let me see if I can get to you. Oh, and somebody else joined. I'm sewing along, but I'm making flying geese blocks. Oh, Denise is sewing along. She's making flying geese instead. Okay. All right. So then what I want to do with the binding, I want to iron this out. I want to press it out so that I've got a nice crease on the back here. So I'm going to go ahead and press this out all the way around. Because remember, this is the back, and we're going to flip this over to the front. It takes me a little bit to get around here, so I apologize. Because we want a nice seam. Whoops, got a lot of threads. We'll have to cut those off. Got little ravels on the edge there. Whoops, there we go. Try to get up kind of towards your corners. I didn't do very well on this corner. I think I better get back up there. Okay, and flip it over this way. I don't think I did very well on this one either. Not doing too well with my corners. There we go. Looks better. Okay, so now I have learned a couple of little tricks with this. When I go to pin my corners, I want to pin those corners. And bring this back down here so you can see. Okay. When I pin my corners on the front, you know, we want that beautiful miter. And what I have found is that you have to pin, you want to sew over the side so that you're sewing on the top of it. You don't want to sew against the grain. So I'm doing much better with this now. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to be sewing along. Remember, you have to kind of figure out how you're sewing. So we're sewing along here. And I want this piece to be on top. So I'm going to push the bottom one in first. Got to grab my pins here. I'm going to push this one in first and get it along the line. And I think I'll do a couple of little clips in here too. Just a second. I like the clips, but I always pin the corners because then they really stay well. So I'm going to get my little clip. Let's get the clip in here. And I'm just going to bring it up to the line, you know, the sewing line we sewed. And I'll bring this one in too with a clip like this. But I want this one, I'm going to sew this way and around the corner this direction. So I want to make sure this one's on top. So I'm going to flip that in with my thumb, and then I'm going to make it really a nice 45-degree angle and then bring it down. So you got to make sure that you're getting them so that they meet up really well in the corners. I'm going to have to pull this a little closer to me because I'm too far away from it. Like this. So I am getting better at these. I haven't done too much binding with machine because most of the time we hand sew it like Judy likes to hand sew it down. And I don't do them by the machine much. But these work so well that way. And then it doesn't take so long to get them done. Because, you know, it takes a while to sew around even these small pieces. So, okay, so I've got it meeting nicely in the corner. I'm going to put this pin and come right up in that corner so that it holds it nice and even, but I'm still missing. Just a second here. Did I get it that time? I think I got it. There's a nice tight corner. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be sewing along and coming down around this corner. Put some more clips in. And then this is the top, so I'm going to be sewing along down here and going around this corner. So I want this piece to go under and this piece to go over. So see how I've got it folded up, and then I'm going to pull it down so that they meet up in the corner there. I think I'll put a couple clips here too. I'm having trouble getting it to turn for me if I don't put a clip in there. Okay. There we go. Get it down, and then it has a nice corner. So then I can put the pin in, and I do put the pins in the corners. And I want to make sure I catch that little V in the corner there. So I have to kind of be careful and get the pin down in there. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'll put some more clips on here. Yeah, I think maybe I think it's still raining a little bit, but the thunder's kind of subsided a little bit here. When I have the air conditioner running in here, I cannot hear much. Storm hit Quad Cities over 8,000 in Iowa City, Quad City without power. Oh, really? I'm in Galesburg, so it won't hit us until 7:30 or so. Okay. Yeah, Pat Pearson. I am on Lynn County REC here. I often have electricity when no one else in town does. So, okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. So when we get to this corner, so we're going to sew over this side first and then go this way. So I want to push this one in first and then pull the other one down over the top of it. Okay, and put another clip down here first. Help hold it down a little bit. So I finally got this figured out. I kind of pay attention to the direction I'm sewing, because then I can get them to lay nice and flat. That first one I didn't do very well, so I might go back and get that one, repin it. But okay, whoops, I missed. The hardest part for me is getting the pin in so that it comes right in to that corner without stabbing myself. Okay, so there's that one. Then I'm going to go around this way. Let's put a couple more clips on. May have to reach down and grab some more clips out of my box. Okay, same thing here. This side we're going to sew over and then down this way. So we're going to push the bottom one in first. Pull this up and come down in the corner. And so I finally have figured this out. So it's working better for me, and my corners look much better now. Because at first I wasn't having very good luck with the corners. They weren't nice and pretty. And I like pretty corners. Oops, I don't think this one's working very well. Let's bring it down so you can see better. There we go. Let's do another clip over here. I think that'll help me. Whoops. I missed. All right. So I'm going to go into, push the bottom one in and push up. There we go. That looks much better. Oops, I just dropped the pin. And then go into that corner. Yeah, we had a storm here, a few weeks ago that I was watching the funnel cloud coming down out of the cloud from my car. I usually get, me too, Margaret. I usually get about 3 out of the four corners real easy, and then the last one just evades you, doesn't it? Okay. So we're getting closer. I might have to go back and do the one over again here. We're down to that one, so we'll put the clips back in here. You can see what I'm doing, hopefully. And oops, put one more in here. So I might go back and do this first corner. I didn't do very well with this first one, so you may have to bear with me, and I'll do this one again. I think it'll come down. Oh, that comes down much better now, so did better on that. Sometimes I just have to practice it once before I get it right. Oops. What's happening is that this is hanging on the camera arm, so I can't get it to lay flat enough for me. There we go. That's better. Everything lays funny then. There we go. I think that's going to be better. Let's see if I can get it up there. Yeah, this one just doesn't want to go very well, but I think I got it better now. Oops. Just stabbed my thumb again. I'm surprised I haven't bled on this yet. That's why I don't like pins anymore, because I'm always stabbing myself. Okay. There we go. I think we got all the corners. All right, so now I'm going to use a very small zigzag stitch. Got to move some stuff out of my way here again. I'm going to use a very small zigzag stitch when I put this on. And I'm going to sew from the front. I touched my machine and went to sleep. So I'm going to go back to my utility stitch tab. And the stitch that I like to use is number 110, because I set this so that when I do my binding, I have it already set. Yeah, Judy, you're right, Judy. There's always one corner. And I have it set to a width of 2 millimeters, and the length is 1.6. So it's pretty short. I mean, it's longer and it's pretty narrow. And you really can't see it very much, especially when I use very matchy thread. So let's go ahead. And I don't like to start, like in a corner. I like to start to give me a little straight spot here. So we're going to start kind of down at the bottom here. And let's grab my little lid for my clips. And I like to lay the fabric, whoops, second here, right on the line, where I sewed. I can kind of see it, and that's where I lay it, is just to cover up that line. And when I put my foot down on here, I'm going to see if I can get a little closer and if it will focus. But remember that little notch we talked about before on this foot? I like to lay that right on the edge, the folded edge of my binding, and then it will go on either side about equal distant, and it's so nice and snug that way. Okay, so that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking that little notch and laying like right on the edge of that folded area, and I'm lining my folded line up just on the line that I sewed before, so that it's covering up that line. I don't want that line to show. Okay, back this up just a little bit, and we'll drop our needle. I'm going to tie a knot, and I'm going to make sure my binding's lined up there, if you give me a second, and then I'm going to zigzag this on. Gotta get, oops, I got some little ravels there. Okay, here we go. And gonna have to move my pillow just a second. Okay, looking at my line. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm running that little notch right along the very edge of that folded line, or that folded edge of the binding. Okay. And yes, it will show a little bit on the back, but I figure this is not something I'm putting in a competition, and I'm not doing this I probably would not do it this way on a quilt unless I was doing like a child's quilt, because they get washed and stuff. I am going up, I'm leaving the pin in, and I'm going to very slowly go up into the corner, and I want to make sure that my needle is on the right when I go to turn the corner. And then I'm going to turn the corner, put my foot back down, and that line, remember that little line we were talking about right here, is right on the edge of that binding again. I'm going to go around the corner, take the clips out, make sure I'm on the stitching line. Now when you're doing this narrow of a zigzag, you do kind of have to pay attention to where you're going, because it is pretty narrow and you want to make sure you're hitting your fabric. So it's going right along the edge there. Looks like I'm stuck on my mat. There we go. Close here to another corner. I'm trying to make sure I'm right on my line there. Looks pretty good. When I get up to the corner, I usually slow down, and I want to go right up in my corner, and I want to make sure that my needle is on the right when I go to turn the corner. I think that looks pretty good. Then I know I've hit it. All right, take this one up, and I'm going to check my... There we go. Are they doing okay? Hopefully nobody's blown away. Like I said, I think it's raining here, but I can't really see what it's doing. And I never heard the sirens, but I've got my air conditioner running in here, so I don't hear anything with that running. Sometimes I do hear the sirens though, because the window's open for the the air conditioner to vent out. So, all right, we're getting along the next edge here. Sure, it's right along my stitching line. But for these little projects, doing binding like this is so much faster than hand stitching it. And the quilts, I still like them hand stitched. And I have Judy to help me with that. Thank you, Judy. I put all of her binding on her quilts, and she stitches them all down. She likes to hand stitch, and I just hate it. So, but like for a child's quilt or just a quilt you're going to use, like if I was going to do a little quilt that I was just going to use all the time and wash all the time, I probably would just put the binding on like this. It looks nice and it's strong. So, okay. Getting to a corner again, so I have to be a little careful. Go up slowly. Make sure I get right to the corner, and I want to stop with my needle on the right. And whoop, Jan didn't do too well in that corner, but we'll see how it goes here. Okay, turn the corner. I think I might have missed a stitch, but I think it's okay. You have to go back and fix that a little bit. Like I said, I've got a camera like right in front of here, right in front of me, so it is a little hard for me to see sometimes over the camera. All right. Getting down towards the last corner. Close here. Oops. I'll hang on to it. Line up my line. The clips also like to grab the little cord on the camera here, so they've been grabbing the cord and pulling it. All right, getting close to this corner, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to slowly go to the corner and make sure that I end with my needle on the right. Oops, I think I have to go take one more stitch. There we go. Yeah, I missed a little spot over there in that corner. I'll have to go pick it up. I thought I did. I couldn't see very well because the cord flipped up in my face. All right, I'm going to go down this last side. Just about done. And go fix that little corner that I messed up. Well, you guys have gotten to see me rip tonight, and then I have to go back and fix. I do that a lot. I sew. I like to sew. I like to just sit and sew, and I do make a lot of mistakes. Do a lot of unsewing. Okay, I'm just about to the end. All right. Take a couple stitches, tie off, and we're almost done. Okay, whoops, I got a little thread here. Let's cut this one off. I'm going to go ahead and take those pins out of the corners so I won't stab myself with them. Looks like my corners turned out pretty good though. Take those out. And yeah, I got to go back and hit this little corner. I got a little spot that didn't get sewed. There's about a half an inch. So I'll go back and fix that. But look at the binding. And it didn't take us 4 hours to hand stitch it down, did it? So when you see this, I don't know if you can see this well, can you see that there's just a little zigzag along the inside of that binding? And that's what's going to show. It isn't terrible, especially if you match your thread fairly close. So you won't really see it. And it's just going to be a little line kind of on the inside of the binding. Okay? So it doesn't look bad, and most people will never even know it. You technically were supposed to do it the other way. But I like it this way when I'm doing small pieces because it's so much faster to get it on. But isn't that cute? There's the pillow. We did it. Got my nice envelope back on the back. None of us blew away, hopefully, while the storms were going through, and the internet stayed on. So that's always a plus too, huh? So look at there. There's our pillow. Dad will get a pillow for 4th of July. He'll get a kick out of this. I took him a welcome pillow too. He really liked it. So, oh, I'm getting little blue bubbles flying around here. On a child's coat, you can also use, yes, Judy, you can use a decorative stitch. So instead of the zigzag, you could use a cute decorative stitch along the edge. But that way it's nice and strong, you know, like for a kid's quilt or one you're going to use a lot. So, and wash. Okay. So I'll turn the camera around here so we can say good night. Did anybody have any other questions about anything? And remember, Tuesday night at 7:30 is sessions on software. We're going to make the, oops, second here. Beautiful. Thank you, Lori. Good to on the, oh yeah, the corners turned out pretty good. I just need to have that one that I just missed a little bit. I could tell I missed it because I couldn't see over the camera. Thank you, Jan. Your dad will enjoy. Yes, he will enjoy the pillow. My father has always loved things that my mother and I made. My mother made things all the time. So he's very used to homemade gifts and he loves them. So a lot of men don't, you know, care about stuff like that as much as he does. He's always loved things. So I make him a lot of stuff. His favorite thing that I've ever made him, he loved his Cubs quilt. I made him for his 90th birthday. So I made him a Cubs quilt. Okay, any other questions? So Tuesday is sessions on software with Jan at 7:30. And then next Sunday, we will not have Sew Along with Jan. We're going to take the Sunday off since I have like 5 days off. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. And so we will not have Sew Along with Jan next Sunday. And then the following week is the Explore Club. So then on Sunday the 14th, we'll go through that again online here, because I know some of you said you couldn't come. The mini iron pad on my edges. Oh, Jackie has a question. So I have a question on the mini iron pad on the edges. It always pulls away and never works 100%. Do you think I hoop too tight? Actually, Jackie, it's probably because it's too loose. It's probably because it's too loose, because there's not much stabilizer in there, and that stabilizer is very soft, so it's probably too loose. So you need to get it in there really tight. That's one of the few times that you actually have to pull and make it really tight, because it will be off then. So hopefully that answered your question on that. So those are hard to do because I could only make it just so wide because it was done in the machine, the satin stitch, and I tried to inset it as much as possible so I could get it to cover, but you need to make sure that stabilizer's super tight in there, otherwise it will be off. So okay, all right, so yeah, so see you Tuesday night. Hopefully some of you can come Tuesday night to make the recipe pillow, and then next week we'll have Sunday off, and then on the 14th we'll do the replay on the Explore Club, so that some of you that have not got to see it will get to see it that way, and then we'll have a video. So okay, good night everybody. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be running around here in the sewing room for a while yet. So good night everybody. Thank you.